Balanced Budget Committee meeting. Now come to order. Let the record show that, well, all our members are here except for Eric.
He's en route.
And going to be here soon. All right, let's get into it. We've got a new budget. What is the difference between the new budget and one we were working on at the last meeting?
Commissioners have added salaries and a couple other things. And the actuals are up to date through Friday.
So their proposed budget for 2022, are they done with it?
No, they're not.
They're still working on it? Okay.
Yes.
But I see their salary line is,
That is done.
yeah. Okay.
They have page 3, there's 2 items they need to finish on there.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yellow indicates they need
Yellow,
to finish it.
right. Yellow is to finish.
Yellow what?
They need to finish.
They're still working on it.
Right.
Okay. Does anybody have a section they want to jump right into and talk about? Anybody? I'd like to talk about salaries. Please.
Okay,
Page 5.
and the last time you asked me to do what average firefighter pay and hours and years and all that kind of stuff and what it worked out to be. That's highlighted in yellow on the page that, you'll recognize the paper. The only new stuff is the yellow. Cool. Welcome. Here you go. In addition, I went on the state's website that looks for firefighters, and I listed, these are all the towns that are currently looking for firefighters, and the ones that listed their starting salary I put down in the column, and the ones that didn't list their starting salary, I didn't have time to call. And the very bottom number in bold is the average of everything that's listed.
What is our current starting salary?
$17.93 an hour.
I think I asked you last time, and I don't remember, I didn't write it down, the answer, and I'm sorry, I'll write it down this time. I understood when you increased the starting salary, you passed that on to all the other positions.
That's
Was
correct.
there a percentage you used?
No, I just went to, basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to start at $20 an hour. But then I went and looked at our salary and pay scale, and I went down one, and I, it was like $19, and I forget what it was.
72 cents.
And so I adjusted the salary and pay scale for everybody based on that. So I didn't figure out the percentage. I just used the blocks that were already there.
And how many positions did you end up?
So we have 16 people on the floor, Deputy Jubert, myself, then there's Kathy and Beth, who's part-time, and then we have currently about 12 call firefighters.
Okay.
Now, what are all these labor grades? Like, I see some of them are labeled, like, what's grade 8 or 9? Are those?
So labor grades are, this is from a pay study that was done before I was done, and commissioners adopted that labor and wage scale format. But we only use labor grade 4, and then there's 4P because the paramedics get a stipend for being a paramedic. And we use labor grade 8, and those are for captains, and there's also an 8P because we do have one captain who's a paramedic. the rest of them don't mean anything.
That's why they're yellow and green, so they stand out.
And that was from an organization in New Hampshire that doesn't exist anymore. I forget
The local government center.
they did that study.
Well, for me, I really need to see what each position was being paid last year and what you're proposing they're going to be paid in '22.
So,
And I don't see that here.
so it's,
It'd be under current, right? And
that
then
is current and
right?
proposed.
So,
Am I missing a
yeah,
paper?
there's 3 of them that she emailed.
Oh,
Can't
so
do email.
Did
it
not
to
get
it.
the email.
I don't have that.
I don't have anything about labor grade either.
He had a different paper.
So we
I-
have,
Yeah, they emailed her.
that document's in my email, what I just asked for, what they were paid
Yes,
currently, and what you're proposing that increase is.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, so the current labor grade 4 is, and then the proposed.
Well,
But then the commission has settled on something different than that, so.
I can see that.
What is the difference?
I think the commission has settled on $19.60 an hour for a starting wage.
Yeah, 1960, and then yours was proposed, was 1972.
Yes.
So,
That sounds
just a little bit off.
It's interesting. Okay. All right.
How did they get to the 1960?
I wish Eric was here because he could explain that. It was like in between, because one of the commissioners proposed $19 an hour for the starting wage, and the chief had requested 1972, so they settled, 2 of them agreed to be in between.
Each of them, what, 12 cents off?
Eric could explain it, the whole reasoning behind it.
And these are all just assuming a 2.5% COLA, right, for the whole scale?
So in the, every square going to the right is 2.5%.
Okay.
Anybody have more discussion on salary, any more information you want?
Mike, are these, as if it's 2021 actual, and the third to the right, from the right column, is that as of October 31st?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dave Hickson enters.
Hi, Eric.
Crash.
Just, I'll grab it here. Do you have an extra?
Yes.
Your timing is perfect.
We have a question for you already.
So we're looking at
28 rooms on that night.
budget, a budget that's come out of the commissioner's deliberation.
Yep.
And we do have specific questions, but also, would you be able to go through Page 2 might be the easiest, and just give us a synopsis of the difference. Commissioners is budgeted 0 for legal expense. Nope, you're still working on it.
Yeah, legal expenses, because we don't know
Yeah,
what the result of litigation is gonna be, if we're gonna need to continue anything next year.
we're gonna assume anything is 0, so can you
I'd probably be better off going section by section.
wanna go? Is everybody okay with that?
Well, the last question that
Yeah,
was the pay increase thing, where it
Specific.
was 1972 was what Chief was asking for, and then somebody said 19.
And you had
and you guys-
1960.
You guys settled.
It was 1959 or 1960,
1960.
rounded, yeah.
How that number came to be.
Um,
Since it's not really split the difference, it's different, so it came from averaging something somewhere, or where you
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah, on this right here,
Yep.
that is this number here, it was supposed to equal that number, I guess it was rounded, it's 1960. There was, if you look at the top line, the district itself is behind the average for our immediate area. So we felt that there had to be a change. It was not a unanimous decision, it was a 2-to-1 decision. The general consensus was that if we do something, it needed to be above that number, and, above that, so we're not coming back every year, something that could last a couple of years, so not coming back every time, every budget cycle.
Almost everybody else around moved
Salary
up.
goes up every year.
Right, but this is like our base starting wage. So, it was basically that, there was one commissioner that felt that it should be $19 an hour, and then the other two, not going as high as what the chief had wanted, but to save money, because it was a conscious decision, because every decision that we make affects the taxpayers, and there's some people that don't get with payroll increases, but there's also other things that go, trying to retain our firefighters so that they don't go to other districts, because when you lose someone on your staff in that position, there's other intangible things that change with that. One being overtime that takes to cover a shift if it's empty. 2, there's the intangible things that go with that person, so knowledge of the town, knowledge of your for lack of a better word, your teammates, when that you work with they work with the same 4 guys generally, and so you just know where that person's going to be and how they're going to respond. But a lot of it was the intangible stuff that they take. You spend all that time training someone and then they just move on. So we wanted to be competitive in the job marketplace, because there are a lot of positions open in the firefighting world. I actually just saw one in Plymouth today. That's where I work. So trying to get them to, trying to keep us competitive, but not necessarily go all the way up to the top, the number that the chief was going. We briefly discussed a higher number, but we came back down to the reality of that.
So if somebody came into the fire department, they're from West Coast, know nothing about the community, they're been a firefighter out there for 6 months, they came here and they're starting out absolutely green. What is the time frame that they could, using initiative, jump up into a different wage by becoming a, EMT?
Well, it depends what they come. We don't hire, I believe, we don't hire unless they have certain criteria certifications, so they have to reach at a certain threshold already as a firefighter when they're hired. So you're not gonna hire.
So it's not like the police department where you hire somebody and then send them to the police academy. The folks that we hire are already certified, firefighter 1, firefighter 2, EMT, hazmat operational, things like that.
So, to your, back to your question, if somebody comes in from the West Coast and they've been a firefighter for 10 years, and they're making $23 an hour, and they come to Tilton, they're gonna start at $18 or $17.93, regardless of the years of experience.
No, I have the ability to move somebody on
Okay.
a scale, given that
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
So you see, the starting pay is almost
It's
redundant.
irrelevant. It's,
So
it's-
if we
It's a
hire,
non-starter. If you're gonna bring somebody in, they're trained to get,
Yeah, so at 1960 or 1972, what are you expecting to get for that wage?
so we get exactly what I said, firefighter, certified 1 and 2 firefighter, an EMT at the very least, probably advanced EMT, and then hazmat operations, and a couple others. And they usually attain all that education and training on their own dime.
And in somebody else's department?
No.
You can do that on your own without being a
Yes.
firefighter? Oh,
That's-
interesting.
Yeah.
So
So
I-
we do have call firefighters that we do put through those certifications. But when we hire a career firefighter, a full-time firefighter, they have to have those certifications already.
So are
And they
all
also have
these,
to pass the CPAT exam.
are all these communities on the list you gave us tonight, is that the comparison of those wages based on the same criteria?
Yes,
EMT, the hazmat, et
Yes.
cetera, et cetera?
yes.
So
To
they
be a
are
career
all-
firefighter in New Hampshire is minimum standards. That's set up by the retirement system, actually.
Some of these though are lower than what you're requesting, right? Like Nashua would be basics, for instance, not intermediates.
That's
And I
correct.
assume Goffstown is probably a basic as well, right?
I don't know about Goffstown, what their minimum requirement is, but I think it is a basic EMT, not a advanced EMT.
And there's no labor grade for that on what you gave us, right, for a basic?
No.
Like, what if you hired a basic, what would they?
They get the same as a
Same.
pay.
Okay.
But when we hire a basic, they have to attain your within a year.
So your starting wage is really a sliding scale.
It is,
Not really.
all these departments that are looking for help pay more than us, we're not looking for anyone.
Currently.
Right.
Currently. So we have 4 safer firefighters who are not guaranteed any employment beyond the safer grant. They've come here, they've been trained, they're certified, they've got experience now. They can move to any one of these other communities at the drop of a hat, and they'd be sucked up in a second. We're trying not to lose those folks, because there is nobody else to hire up there. The hiring scheme of it is, if there was a lot of people to hire, these many openings would be existing all at one time. There is literally nobody out there to hire right now as a firefighter that meets all the qualifications.
But in the last year, we pulled in 4 brand new ones, by luck.
Must have been good bait.
Well, since the pandemic started, the labor market, like everywhere else, and we happened to be timed just right. We actually talked about this. Our timing was just right, where it was right before the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
It was like first quarter of last year. And, when March, I think everything got shut down. And all these guys were started in January, February. So, and anyone that comes on to the department is starting at the, as one of the safer grant employees. So they're not guaranteed. So if someone leaves, the safer person moves up into that. If it's a career, one of the,
It's the comparable slot.
right.
Can I just add something for clarification too? We have opened up the option to hire basic EMTs as opposed to,
Who are you?
I'm Dan Leathers. I'm a,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, it's Dan Leathers. I'm
The
a
hat
firefighter.
thing, yep.
Yeah,
gotcha.
sorry. Yeah, we have.
And a haircut.
I did, yeah, short hair now. We've opened up to hiring basic level EMTs, which we used to not even consider, like they wouldn't be interviewed. So of those 4, Chief, what were 2 of them basics or 3? I think it was 3.
The original one, 3, yeah.
So of the original grant guys, 3 of them were people that we would not have hired 5 years ago.
Right.
Didn't meet the minimum qualification.
Wouldn't have hired them 2 years ago.
Maybe that's the problem.
We wouldn't have hired him because we didn't have the grant either.
No, if we had an opening.
Yeah,
we
and
wouldn't
a
have
single,
needed it.
right.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to consider too is, I know a lot of these departments are in negotiations now, so these rates that you see in this paper are only gonna go up. So just looking at the data here, I think the way that the job market is, if you know, anybody's tried to hire people lately, it's a new caliber of employee. It's not the same as it was 5, 10 years ago. Starting pay, time off, no overtime. Those are the 3 big things people want. And that's what they're doing. They're literally going down and saying, where can I get the most money? And I think you're gonna have a tough time if you gotta hire another 4 people at, especially at $17 an hour. But I would say you really gotta balance out this year and kinda, I think it's gotta be at least 20 just to be even considered compatible in the market.
Do you wanna jump the budget enough money in 1 year to make a $3 an hour pay increase?
If it went to $20, it'd be $2.07. But at any rate, I sent out a survey looking for the things that I put on this schedule. I just got this from the Plymouth Fire Chief, and basically it says, good luck, Chief, we're in the process of placing our employees more appropriately within the new wage scale. We're based on years and position, education, and training. The wages will be going up substantially. So what we have here is going to already be going up from Plymouth. And I know Laconia is in the process of renegotiating their contract, because I had correspondence with their chief in that regard. So we're behind, we're at the bottom right now, and if we don't move up, we're gonna stay at the bottom, and then if we do get an opening, we're not gonna be able to hire anybody, because everybody else is more attractive than what we would be doing in pay-wise.
We risk losing very good people too.
Currently, yeah, we're really risking losing 4 people right now.
Yeah.
But our taxpayers can only afford what they can afford. That sounds redundant, but that's the pocket we're digging into. Any more on salary and wages tonight?
What is the percentage increase
Which? On which?
from current starting wage to proposed?
For the chiefs?
Quick numbers is probably around 8% or so, off the top of my head. I'm sure.
I think it was more like 10.
Maybe, I don't know, I have to, let me do my math.
Okay.
60 it's just under 10.
Yeah.
10%.
Yeah.
You expect the taxpayers to swallow that?
9.3.
Well, it's,
Who the hell gets a 10% raise?
maybe we weren't getting the appropriate raises that we should have been getting beforehand. That's how we got so far behind.
This budget has never done anything but go up.
Doesn't mean that because it wasn't
I
appropriate.
don't think any budget ever goes down.
Well, we did follow the news, the Walmart distribution center down, was it Raymond, they're up to $27 an hour. Last year they were at 18.
Yeah.
So that's,
Walmart's a multi-billion-dollar company, not run by taxpayers.
It's a company for profit.
Exactly.
We're not a company, we provide a service.
But we're not for profit.
And we're not for profit.
I mean, what if we phased it in over 2
And then on
years?
the front end, going to Walmart, you're gonna pay more than you did for everything you did before. Not just for supply chain, but they're building it into their costs. what, like
What our nurses are making now,
Do our ambulance charges
$27,
go up?
$30 an hour.
Are we billing at a higher rate?
Not on a half of the family.
The ambulance billing is a separate issue, and we're
Well, we run that like
basically
a business,
controlled
but
controlled our ambulance billing by what Medicare or Medicaid pay,
Yeah.
because that's the majority of our customers are on those. And Medicare is doing a 5-year study right now to more appropriately refund ambulances based on services provided. But that's not complete, and in fact, our service is going to be, next year, we have to provide them with all our information based on costs, from toilet paper to gasoline to salaries to re-roofing the building if we have it, everything.
is their study just of municipal services, or are they going out, are they gonna survey the private ambulance
It's
companies too?
ground ambulance, anybody that does ground
Ground transport.
transport. So it is private services as well. Which, if you want to compare between municipal and private, of course, the private's out for profit. And if you don't pay one of their bills, they'll chase you down.
Well, they're in the business, and they're in business, and
Sure.
if it didn't work for them, they wouldn't be.
The worst thing we'll do is we're not going to bring anybody to court. They bring people to court.
Yeah, we just subsidize it.
Any more salary wage questions? Eric, you want to walk us through the differences in this?
Which one?
Well, I think, please, anybody jump in if I'm going too fast. I think the first page is pretty self-explanatory, page 3 actually, of the itemized proposed budget. Medicare, I'm assuming that's what it is, retirement, what we're gonna do about it, and Social Security. I didn't see really any of the differences besides those.
So all those numbers are just based on
Yeah,
payroll?
there's nothing we can do about that. So on page 4, you get a $300 difference in the Central Street Station.
That was on electricity. Find the version that we, we bumped the electricity a little bit because of the cost of electricity.
Okay,
Where we're with 3 months to go in this year, roughly, if you look at the actual numbers,
I see that.
we're gonna go over budget in that item, so we just bumped it up a little bit, hopefully for next year to keep it under that number.
Well, this is 11/4, this, okay, so you haven't, so, do you have October's bill, has that been paid? Because according to the date on this, you'd be looking at 2 months, November and December. I have no clue what your electricity bill is at Central Street.
Hold on, open that program.
But it's a $500 increase from 221. But maybe you'll have a closer number when you actually look at the actual. Okay, that's not a big difference, but jumping down, replace railing on fire escape and vinyl siding.
So, you want me to explain that?
Well, the backside of the building needs.
Which building?
The Center Street Station. The backside of that has vinyl siding missing. So it's down to the wood. And then there's also the railing on the side of the building needs to be repaired. It's a safety issue there. The chief had the numbers on the left. We went and asked the chief to get another number, more estimates, and we got another estimate from, I think, even Meredith. And his bid actually came in lower than the 3,000, but the siding on the back side of the building, the vinyl siding is very brittle, and we're just worried that as he's trying to fix it, he's gonna break more, and it's gonna wind up having to replace more. So we kind of put a cushion in there in case, so that we don't go over the repairs, but it was originally $15,000 or so for that.
Okay, but so the commissioners only put in 3,000 for
The
both,
bid we received was around $1,500
for the vinyl
for the vinyl and the railing.
and the railing.
Yes,
1,500?
yes.
Well, that's a huge difference from the other two.
Well, the other bid was vinyl siding the entire back side of the building.
Oh, and this is patching.
This is more of a patch.
Okay.
All right, am I right in that?
That's correct.
And why would so if it was 15 for,
And again, the railing is making repairs to the railing, not necessarily replacing the entire railing.
okay.
Okay, so I get the railing, that's on that back, as you're facing the building, the stairway on the right side,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
I get that. How important is vinyl siding on the back of that building?
Well, it protects the wood. And
The
it's,
wood siding under it must be old wood siding.
It's actually, what I've seen is the gasoline shingles under it.
So it's nothing that, there's not gonna be any,
I haven't examined it closely to see if there are any gaps in any of the stuff, because it is very old. You know, it's from 1870 or something like that. It's when the building was built. So I don't know how deep that original, the siding that's underneath the siding, I don't really know what condition that's in. I just know we had a windstorm one day and a whole bunch of the siding blew off. And we had them screw it down so more doesn't go flying off, but we've lost a couple more since then, but because it keeps.
that's exactly what happens with that stuff.
except where we put the screws in, that's probably still in the building. But
Yeah, the screw's still there, but the sliding around it's gone.
So if we jump to page 5, you're still looking for a contingency fund. Are you anticipating
what page?
5?
Sorry.
The rest of it, above it is all, it's the same. But you're still asking for a contingency fund.
Yes.
Afraid of a boiler blowing up, a roof blowing off?
We had a boiler blow up last year, and that wasn't budgeted for in this fiscal year, so. we
Right,
may
but that's
have to
usually what your
continue that.
surplus is for.
Well, I mean, we don't know what's gonna go next. That's,
But that's usually what your surplus is
So
for.
what's left to go?
the building,
Tornado.
anything, windows, roof, I don't know, anything can go in that building, how many, 150 years old, I mean, anything can go at any time on
Yeah,
that
but
building.
the components aren't that old. The roof's not 150 years old.
No, but the building itself, I mean, you know, we could find out something that needs to be repaired, someone could go back into something, something else could break. The railing, the repairs that we make, all of a sudden we realize that we have to do, you know, all the siding in the back, or the, you know.
So I have a question, and I really don't know the answer, never looked it up. Can the fire district have reserve funds?
So what we have is, what we have in the bank is, yes, you can't have reserve funds like a town does, where you have separate, a reserve fund. We don't have a reserve fund. What we have are leftover funds from previous years.
That's
Yeah.
a reserve fund.
that-
So the ambulance monies goes into a type of reserve fund,
The ambulance money goes into the apparatus and equipment fund, which is a
which
separate
is a type
fund.
of reserve fund.
It's a separate budget, it's a capital
It's-
reserve fund, yes.
Yeah,
capital reserve fund.
it's the only way you can do it, otherwise it would have to
Right,
go.
but it goes, but you can't take
would lapse.
that money and go buy a new boiler or anything.
That's right. So my question is, if you can have reserve funds, why wouldn't, instead of raising and appropriating this every year, and then it lapses into your surplus,
It's,
why wouldn't you create a reserve fund for maintenance of buildings, or, and like I said, I don't really know, I'd have to study it, look it up. Usually there's a whole list of criteria you can have reserve funds for.
We have one.
Pardon?
We have one in town.
Yeah, we do until,
that
we have
money-
several.
the
We
money on
have,
that
for
line-
trucks, we have blah, blah, blah. So why wouldn't you,
the money on that line is from the reserve, it's appropriated from the reserve fund to the budget. If we use it, fine, but it has to be through the commissioners, it's not something.
I believe the
that I
warrant-
can spend-
the warrant article is, but this says just, this is in the budget.
It gets
So
put
this
in the
isn't-
budget, but
It's put in the budget, but
It's a warrant article item.
it's a warrant
It's a
article,
warrant
separate
article item.
warrant article.
So how can you have,
1%
I've
of your
seen it in
previous.
the warrant article, but how can you have it in the budget too?
It gets placed in the
It gets
budget
placed in the, that's
after
the
the
line it gets
warrant
placed
article
in.
passes.
That's,
It's only there for show for the purposes of the budget.
that's the one
Well, I have
that's,
a big question.
that's the one,
Department of
the one
Revenue.
that's 1% of the previous year's operating budget.
That's correct.
Oops, so, and I'm sorry, I'm from town, district can be different.
It won't be in the budget when it goes to district meeting. It'll be a warrant article.
So why is it in the budget to the budget committee?
So you can see what that amount's gonna be.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be part of the budget we vote on. We're voting on the budget, not on warrant
All
article.
right, then cross it out.
And put it, I would put it,
There's a page,
The warrant
A
article.
warrant article.
a warrant
no,
article.
don't you usually have like, or maybe we're not there yet.
You're not there yet.
Yeah, like, you know,
Page 10 is where the warrant articles are.
yeah.
So it's listed in both places. And it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be in the budget.
No, it's coming out. I'll make sure I
So, back to my
circle that and get it
question.
out of there.
Why wouldn't you have a reserve fund?
Not the way it's set up. I mean, we can make a warrant article and make a reserve fund. I actually like the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not,
I mean,
you're the commissioner and you know more about it than I do.
right.
So that's my question, if you seem to be truly concerned about these buildings, especially Center Street, I can empathize with that. So why not
I'm
create?
concerned about a lot of things, I mean, concerned about a lot of things, and
Yeah, so knowing that a reserve fund has less impact, and you can always use the surplus, rather than raising and, doing this every year, you could still use your surplus. I know this is easier,
well, yeah, do.
but it still lapses. No matter,
And it
if you're
goes-
taking this out of the surplus, and you don't use it, it goes back
Right,
in
but
the
if you
surplus, and
make
then you
the
gotta do
capital-
it every year.
Right, it's like,
So you
so,
could run across a year like this year where they vote no.
They did a couple of years ago.
Yes, I remember, that's what I'm saying. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah,
But a reserve fund, it's there.
Well, they could vote
They can
no.
refuse to fund it one year, but it doesn't lapse. Whatever
Still,
is
the money's still
there
there.
stays there
So
until
what
you use it.
happened to our land and building fund when we were putting in 100,000, 100,000, 100,000? That
It's
was.
still there.
It must be still
Is it
there.
only for new buildings or for maintenance and repairs?
No, it's just new
New
buildings.
buildings.
You'd
New
have to
buildings
look at
and
the
land.
warrant article.
So we've been taxing
So
and
they
putting
could
money in a kitty.
They could do a warrant article to establish the fund and further put money in the fund. But that creates a budget hike
It what?
unless you word it properly so it comes from the
Right.
funding comes from the unreserved fund.
Out of
Right.
fund balance.
And you need to
That's right.
determine how much money you want in that fund and
Right.
how long you're gonna take to get there.
Yeah, and that would be up to the commissioners to decide how they
Well,
want
the
it.
money going into that fund would be,
Yeah.
should be a warrant article.
Yeah, see, they could do this and have the warrant article read and to put into the reserve fund. So there it sits. And it's a very specific purpose. A lot of people look at contingency.
Then the shovel lapse.
The commissioners are going to
Yeah.
Bimini, huh? I mean, it's, like a slush fund, because there's no specific reason. A reserve fund, in my history is just easier because people can look at it, oh, this is for roads, bridges, and sidewalk repair. Okay, yeah, we got
Well,
those.
I don't think we have a reserve fund for attorneys.
No, but you always
That's
have
not
these
funny, but it's
surplus,
funny.
that's just a request from Department
Sure, an
of
attorney
Revenue.
can help you
Anyway,
with that.
I'm sorry, that was just me, I was very curious about why you didn't do that, but,
Because
yeah, that's
it
up
was
to you.
never thought of.
So anybody, we're back to salaries and wages on page 5. Is everybody good, or do questions come up?
Well, Elizabeth, I'm curious though, have we started making revenue on those towers yet? I know last year,
I'm sorry, on what?
on the
The
communications towers, are we making revenue on those?
We received a $5,000 payment because they got the building permit, but the tower is not constructed, and we won't receive payments on that until the first tenant, which is gonna be AT&T FirstNet, is on it. And then we start receiving monthly rent.
When do you anticipate that, in 2022 or later?
So it will be in it's supposed to start construction within a month.
Oh, okay.
So,
How much is that monthly rental gonna amount to?
so it's
1,800.
It's like $18,500 a year for the first tenant, so it's
That's the
1,000.
first tenant, and
Then every tenant on after that, we get a percentage, and I don't have
the
it.
percentage of the 18,
No, percentage of what their rent is. So I don't know what their rent would be. Say it's $100, we get 45% of that rent, or 65%. I don't have the lease in front of me, so
Okay.
I could tell you though if I have the lease.
all right.
Catherine, you asked a question about the electric bill, that is through 10 months. So it works out to a little over $520 a month for the Center Street Electric.
Oh, okay. So, page 6, got a big block of yellow, and the only real difference I see is up in the training fees, but it's not a big, huge difference. Does anybody have any questions on that page? Equipment maintenance and repairs, now this is what comes out of the ambulance.
Nope.
No? So what is that, just supplies? Is it-
So when you get towards the back of the budget, that's the stuff that comes out of the ambulance account. But the commissioners and I haven't really gone through that whole thing yet. You'll see at the top of, it'll be the apparatus and equipment.
Anything in yellow is undecided,
That's correct. They haven't touched it yet.
anything that there's no numbers at all,
What are you
What are you
looking
looking
at?
at?
The equipment maintenance and repairs?
yes.
Yeah,
The chief, clumped, he said, okay, it's gonna cost this amount of money to do all of this.
and they just haven't broken it down as to where it's going to
Right.
be. Okay,
Right.
Kinda
The only
like-
thing that was broken down was the gas meters.
okay.
So
Kind of like the vehicle where, as he needs it, it gets distributed to that one.
is it 740 to fire equipment that comes out of that fund?
Yes.
Yes.
The vehicle had two, it had my vehicle of the known, and then the other one was the unknown.
Well, the big number is the unknown,
Yeah.
or all big numbers.
So that's a drop. I don't see any yellows on equipment maintenance and repairs, that's a good thing. actuals today was what, 46,771? I'm sorry, on vehicle repairs?
Yes.
That's correct.
Last year we raised
What is the-
60,000.
Difference in diesel fuel.
I was curious too.
I think it was, I thought we put it on the side, what the increase is. Do we have that on the?
Chief's budget's 19,800, commissioners is 18,000.
So I got the number for that came from, you go on the government's website for consumer price index, and you drill down until you get to, fuels and diesel fuel, and you'll find out what the percentage is in gain over the previous, or loss, but this year it's substantial. I think it's like 39% or something like that. And I did the same for gasoline, which isn't quite as bad as diesel.
But the commissioners didn't adjust that.
We still prefer diesel ambulances over gas,
Mm,
and we still prefer to buy diesel ambulances over gasoline.
But your actual on diesel is 12,556, so you're really expecting to spend another $7,000 on diesel before the end of the year?
Is that for, we get bills at different times of the month, so I don't know if that's, probably not. I don't know.
Where'd you get $7,000 in your?
Well, we've got 12,556, and the chief is proposing 19,800. So it's a little more than 7,000, right? So
Well,
maybe
that's
9,000.
considering the increase in diesel from last year to next year, and what, it's gone up quite a bit.
Well, right now it's a little frightening.
Yeah.
On a good note, when I was yesterday in Plymouth, the price of gas was $3.33. Today it was $3.21.
Only.
So
Oh, I know, but it was like,
the
it
diesel-
went up
for 9
overnight.
months.
It was like 2 days it was that, and then it came back down today.
So is the anticipation that diesel prices are gonna stay the way they are or come back down? That's the question, right?
It's
They'll-
I
They'll
mean,
stay up as long as home heating oil stays
yeah.
up.
I'm hearing horror stories about old
Until
people.
our April. They're competing with gas that went down, right? Okay.
People filling up their oil tanks and they're seeing the big stickers. Time for the holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Your repairs, vehicle repairs, those are anticipated,
So,
let me ask you,
on,
how do you come up with the figures?
so the ones that are listed, not the 25,000, that's the, I have no idea. The ones that are listed beside every vehicle,
Yep.
I know there are maintenance that vehicle's gonna take. Whether it's, oiling the truck, changing the filters, greasing them, servicing different systems within each vehicle. These are known costs.
Okay. And the 25 is for the, just in case the transmission falls out or,
Yes.
okay.
So, 2021 actual vehicle repairs other 51.
Yeah, so as money is, I don't know why there's $51 there, because usually, as we use money out of the big pot, it gets assigned to a vehicle, so you don't really see the 25,000 where we are with that.
And 2021 appropriated was 23,000.
That's correct.
And we've gotten rid of one of the problem vehicles, yet
Yes,
that's still gone up.
the request has gone down from last year. The overall request. Last year, was $60,000 was appropriated. This year, I'm requesting $51,307.
Right, that may be, but what I'm saying is, 2021 appropriated, vehicle repairs other, says 23,904.
That's correct. That's what the budget committee came up with.
So, what is the real number for 2021 actual?
Other?
Yeah.
I don't know that number.
$51.
Right, but if you take 51 and add up all these numbers, it doesn't equal 60,000, it's 46,000, so it would seem like there's 14,
Yes,
13,000.
13,000 left in that
With
account.
engine one gone,
Yep.
how does other go up?
That's what I put in there, because we still have engine 3, which still requires an awful lot of maintenance, an awful lot of repairs.
More than they both did last year.
Well, if you look at, let's see, where engine 1 and engine 3.
Engine 3 has already cost us just over $17,000 this year.
And there are no numbers for engine one, it just says traded for engine two.
That's correct.
Well, it had $1,700 before it was traded.
1,700?
1783.
1783.
$1,750.
So that's what was spent on engine one.
On engine 2.
And
Oh, sorry,
We
yes,
don't have
sorry,
engine 2.
sorry, look at the wrong one.
1,783 in vehicle repair other, which is unknown
I'm looking.
for engine one. It has to be more than that, because that wouldn't be a big deal. I wouldn't call a vehicle to take $1,700 in unknown repairs a major issue.
It's things, it's the little things like lock nuts that they might need, but they don't tell me what vehicle it goes to. Or they just say it's for stock, so I would put it in miscellaneous, unknown. It's not, anything big. It's a bunch of little things that make up that $51.
Right,
Yeah, but it's only 51 when
the issues with engine
appropriation
one
was so much larger.
were purported to be excessive and costing a lot of money. Yet all we're seeing here is $1,700.
Without me looking at
I mean, this,
Did we trade the wrong truck in?
No, I don't think so. Engine 1,
Yeah.
which has been traded in, we tried to not use hardly at all, because every time we touched it, it was breaking.
What was the trade-in value?
$5,000.
We got paid for it?
Yes.
That's terrible.
worth one out part.
Well, for the guy that bought it's gonna part it out. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Probably worth
Worth
more
more
than
than
that
that
scrap.
Yeah.
Scrap value's higher than that.
When did the new engine 2 come into service?
It's not in service yet. It's
I've been dying to ask too, Joe.
it's gonna be registered on Monday.
Where's the truck?
It's in the garage, over a box.
Okay, I'll send you a picture.
But the reason it only shows $51 there is because everything that, all those unanticipated repairs were charged off to the appropriate vehicle.
What horribleness happened to us at engine 3?
Oh,
Engine three was showing $4,370.
The actuals under 2021 is 17,293. What happened? I'm just
A
curious.
little bit of everything. Pump, valves,
Foot latch,
No, the cab lockdown system broke twice,
air compressor had to be replaced.
brakes, house, the steering box had to be replaced.
Just like the year before. The
That-
year
that's what I
before,
would call
19
excessive.
actual is $30,000.
Not the $1,800 on it.
It'd be frightening, but might be interesting to know what we spent on these vehicles on repairs over the last, let's say, well, since we purchased them.
I actually did that a few years back,
Did it take your breath away?
yes, because we paid for it
Yeah, about half the
Twice?
price again.
more than that, paid for it twice, almost.
Now, do you guys use a local mechanic shop for that, like, are they driving?
So it depends upon what it is. If
Some you
it's-
can, some you can't.
Yeah, so if it's like brakes or something like that, we use a local repair shop. If it's something to do with the pump or one of the fire service things, it goes to Lakes Region Fire, Lakes Region Fire Apparatus.
That's as local as you can get for
Just about,
that.
yeah.
Well, put it in. There's nobody closer.
You know, we could send it back to Digi back in Cornish, which is a lot further.
Yeah.
Page 9. Unless you have more questions on the repair. Anybody? Career uniforms. Our actual is 4,578 right now. It doesn't, you said we had a full complement, so you're not anticipating hiring anybody. Who are we hiring next year?
I don't have anything in there for new employees for next year.
But so over here it says 18 career uniforms at $600 each.
Yes. So the
Is everybody getting a new uniform?
no, it's replacement uniforms. So pants, shoes, boots, stuff that we wear every day. That have to be replaced.
18?
There's 18 people.
And they each get like a little
And
budget
each-
to work
and-
on.
and
If they
everybody-
need some shirts, they
Of
can
the
get shirts.
18
If they
career
need-
employees, they all get $600 apiece.
How much does a full uniform cost? That should be my question.
A full uniform, when somebody's hired and starting anew, is, I have that
This
somewhere.
will look-
1,250.
$1,250?
$1,250.
That's the 1250. okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if that was inclusive. Okay. Okay, I guess that answers my question, but even so, if we have the full complement this year, we're using less than half of that amount.
That's what they're allowed. Now, mind you, this is the beginning of winter. A lot of them are placing orders right now.
Okay.
So it goes in waves. Usually there's a lot of it is spent in the spring, and a lot of it's spent at the end of the spring, at the end of the fall, because of the change of the seasons. That's,
Okay, thank you.
Would that be true of the call company as well? Showing 2,400.
pretty much, they do about the same, because like I want them to look like they belong to us, so they're supposed to have t-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, pants when they can. A lot of them keep a complete set of uniform in their locker at Park Street, so when they get there, they do a quick change and then go out.
Bless you.
Jumping down below, design, engineering, architectural fees, we raised 100,000, we haven't used any of it.
That's correct.
Where are you?
But it's not lapsing this time.
It's,
It's not lapsing. We made that a
We
warrant.
protected it.
That's gonna sit there.
It lapsed before,
So this is the exact type of fund that you want.
yes.
So this was, and I don't remember.
And we did it.
This
It was
a-
done and it was done wrong, so
Yeah.
money.
So 2 years ago, we, at the end of the budget cycle, I think, we
Yeah.
put $100,000 into the budget for that.
Yep.
We didn't spend it, so it went into the unassigned fund balance.
Yeah,
So last year, we made a warrant article
Took it out of there.
took it out of the unassigned fund balance and created this, design engineering architectural fees.
Yeah.
So if the building committee wanted to, have something drawn up, that's where that money would come
It's
from.
sitting there.
It's sitting
Yeah.
there.
And
Originally-
This is another one of those, it's not actually in the budget.
That's a warrant article, that's a warrant article. These, that money is in its own capital reserve fund.
Yeah.
But it's showing what was appropriated last year.
Thank you.
Originally, the commissioners wanted to tax us a second time on it, because we didn't spend it, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were gonna do it twice, but thankfully we didn't do that.
Does anybody have any questions we haven't gone over? Any update on the hydrants?
We're sitting down with the water commissioners, the fire commissioners and the water commissioners are sitting down next week together.
Nicely
Face
done.
to
They're
face.
gonna meet?
Wow, face to face, yeah.
So far, knock on wood.
Why was there a change of heart there, do we know?
Our attorney wrote their attorney a letter, and the response was, we're gonna meet.
Okay.
They would like to meet with us. So. we're-
Is it in court now?
No,
Well,
You're waiting for a ruling, right?
yes, we're waiting for a ruling coming.
All right.
the ruling's on their motion to dismiss already.
That's correct. The other ruling that has been put down is that it's a restraining order, that they can't shut the water off to the fire stations or the fire hydrants again. And that the fire district must hold a special district meeting to address the water district. With
We're so close
with a
to
warrant
town.
article.
So close to March. That would be awful to spend, I mean, it's only, what, a couple thousand? I say only, but 1,000 here, 1,000 there.
It's a court order, so we have to work through the process. And maybe
Still
we'll get to
asking
the point.
what we're having. They may not even realize our meeting is pretty close. Okay. Anybody, any more questions? Anything else? Any information you need on any part of this budget?
We haven't voted on really anything tonight. Is this just a discussion process still?
Well, we haven't come up with figures on that.
We're gathering
There
information.
you go.
That's from the fund. So the 741 also out of that fund? Yes.
Ambulance and equipment, yeah, 741. 740, 741, and the rest be whatever.
I'm sorry?
Hold on.
Pages 11 through 14 of the apparatus and equipment replacement fund budget. That's everything that comes out of it.
Yeah, okay. So from that page to those two pages, 12 and
To the end, from 11 on.
13, 14 doesn't, right? New car, new
Yes.
forestry.
14
That
comes
that
out of
actually
it.
does.
Engine two, that actually does?
Yes.
Oh, that, yeah, duh, duh, I knew that. New car, new engine.
Is there a page that shows where the revenue's at right now? Is that in here somewhere?
No, it is
It's
not.
not on there, but I can currently, I had it in my, report.
Yeah.
You- Eric's got a copy of what it is.
Good.
We're still paying for paramedic insurance?
If we go to Concord, yes. Otherwise, no. If we use, currently, if we use a Lake City Mutual Fire Aid Community for an intercept, or if we give an intercept, there is no charge.
When did that change?
Before I came here,
Really?
yes. But there's a committee looking at that right now, actually,
To reinstate it?
possibly.
Yeah. Total apparatus and equipment fund balance through October $318,054.06.
Okay, I assume that's with paying for the new engine that's being built, right?
Yes.
So that's basically everything we voted on, and that's just
Yeah.
kind of building it back up now.
Yep,
Okay.
What was it, number 318?
318,054.06.
That's the money in the bank.
In the apparatus and equipment, yes.
Do you pay a company to collect ambulance fees?
Yes,
You do?
yes. Comstock is the name of the company.
I was just curious.
They're
And,
listed here
'cause,
somewhere.
do I remember that
Page 12.
we changed the fund to include, be able to pay them out of the fund
Yes.
to
Yes.
collect those?
Yes,
That was a number of years ago.
yes.
Okay,
It's
good.
line 331 on page 12.
Any information anybody needs? Anybody needs any more on the salaries, wages?
Eric, when will the commissioners be done with the budget?
Are we budget meeting on Tuesday?
After you leave with the water
Yeah,
district,
we have a meeting on Tuesday after we meet with the water district.
hopefully it'll be done. Except for
Uh,
legal.
I don't think we have another meeting scheduled.
We do.
Yes, it is.
We have
Is the meeting with the water district open to the public?
Yes, as far as we
It's
know.
right currently, unless they decide to go non-public. Because it is negotiations, I guess. it could be
Contract
non-public.
negotiations, so.
It could be non-public.
And when is that meeting?
Tuesday.
Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the water district offices. That'd be fun to attend, for sure.
When would you like to meet again? 2 weeks?
Look, tomorrow.
Okay.
District meeting?
I'm not coming on a Saturday, Kevin.
Did you really think I was gonna say
I have a
no?
baby shower. Yours.
Is one, yeah. I almost said it's
Whether the
Wednesday.
commissioners
Is Friday still the only
Commissioners are gonna
day?
meet
that-
again on Tuesday after their meeting with the water district.
If you go in 2 weeks, we will have met 2 more times.
that might be enough for you to fill in some yellow.
Yeah.
And I'm
Not as much
thinking,
yellow as it was a few months, last month. So,
well, one area we keep talking about is salary and wages, so maybe we could make a decision in 2 weeks on salary and wages.
And some of these other things too, Tom.
A lot of them are just,
They're not gonna change.
they're not going to change, so.
What?
A lot of the others won't change with
Right.
the commissioners' meetings.
Right, right, so we'll have
So
to,
with the information we have, we probably can come up with some of
Yeah.
those too.
looks like repairs and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, we,
I mean, you know, commissioners, you know, the elected officials' salaries and all of that,
excuse me.
so.
I think that wasn't done because we don't know if we need to do a special meeting or not.
That's
yet,
done.
or-
Elected officials.
Oh, I thought we did.
No.
What was the other one that we did?
It's elections and
Oh,
legal
legal
expense.
expenses, yeah, legal expenses.
Well, you still got your contingency fund for that, right? You haven't spent any of it.
No,
Try to
I
save
try,
up.
I try to not spend it.
Actually, it looks like there was some pretty conservative spending. Okay, so 2 weeks, is that good for everybody?
Yeah.
Are we still gonna do Fridays? Is Friday still the only day we can all get together?
It would be nice if
Every time we talk about it, that's where we end up, is Friday.
I mean, I'm not opposed to a different night, if we want to look at,
Yeah,
like,
Pardon?
Monday through Thursday,
okay, Thursday is out for Eric.
Tuesday's not for you.
Tuesday's out for me.
Mondays and Tuesdays are out for me.
Wednesday's a good day, right in the middle of the week.
I can't do Wednesdays because I do budget until on Wednesdays.
Change that
I
to
can do
Thursday.
Fridays.
Although, so budget until it starts at 7.
We go to 5 to 7. There we go. We can move the meeting to till. We don't have to move.
So at 6:14, I mean, we get done
6:30, that
at,
would
took me
give you
5
time.
minutes to get over there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Changing it to what?
Wednesday at 5?
The 17th, is that what you're saying?
Is that good for everybody? Oh my God, I'm gonna show up here on Friday. I just know it.
The two, what, the one to do one meeting a night or two meetings a night?
Pardon?
You wanna do one meeting a night or two meetings a
Oh,
night?
I don't mind doing 2. Get her
They don't start till 7?
If the axe is already sharpened, why not, you know?
So we're gonna
Swing.
change it to Wednesday.
Is everybody good with Wednesday night?
Wednesday the 17th, yes.
Wednesday, around the table, I don't hear any no's.
Well,
It's either
discussion.
that or we're gonna have a keg set up here.
Huh?
one or the other.
I'm in.
I go
Wait, I
Fuller,
And
I'm
we're-
liking that idea.
Wait a minute, I kinda like that idea.
So Eric, would you have met 2 times on the 17th?
Yeah, because we meet on Tuesdays,
Okay.
so.
And is it gonna be here or Tilton?
I can't invite you to Tilton, only he can.
Let me check the calendar.
Yeah, I don't know what they have. I don't think there's anything on Wednesday. But I mean,
Budget is
Probably
Wednesday
still-
at
no,
7.
that's
But
upstairs.
the budget's upstairs.
To the public anyway.
Downstairs.
I'm looking.
Is Tilton Town Hall a mask required facility?
A what?
No,
Is it a what?
it's not a
Math
math
required.
required.
Math,
facility.
math
No
required,
masks.
but we're doing numbers, so it's math
It's just
required.
the budget committee on Wednesdays in Tilton.
And that's at 7.
PM.
Yeah.
So Catherine and Jane are both on the budget committee?
No, I'm not.
You're
She
not
is.
this year?
I'm the ex officio.
How are they gonna get through it without you?
Oh, that gives you 2 meetings in one night.
Yeah, that's not very good. Actually, yeah.
They have for 2 years.
I have a question. The number 10% for payroll increases has been brought forth. How is somebody coming up with 10%? These total salaries, I'm trying to say the difference between appropriated this year and the chief or commissioner's budget.
Right,
The difference is-
everybody remember that thought, hold it for a second. So, 2 weeks from now, Wednesday at Tilton,
At what time?
5 o'clock.
Okay.
So
Is
it's,
that confirmed? Just say
17th?
yes.
Yes.
November 17th?
Eric, do you think that's gonna be all right?
It'll be fine, there's nothing else
There's
on
no
the calendar.
conflict?
No conflict. I'll make the arrangements tomorrow.
Will you send a reminder?
Yes, I will.
Downstairs.
Downstairs. Okay, so,
What's the, wait a minute, what's the day, the number?
1/7,
11/17
yes,
at Tilton.
at 5,
Thank you. And that's a Wednesday.
yes. So Charlie, you had asked
Okay.
how the 10% number came up.
Right.
It's the 1793 that was used.
Oh, it's the starting salary.
That was the
My
starting
proposed
salary,
yeah.
and
new
his
starting
proposal
salary.
was 1972. So the 1972 is 10% over,
1792 minus the
1793, and it was 1972 was the chief's proposed.
It's on that sheet, one of those sheets.
Right, good. Is about 10%.
Right.
That's what we said.
9.3.
So that was to go from 17.
Oh, he was using
Every
parameters were different.
Right, because we're not gonna, the taxpayers aren't gonna pay based on the starting salary, which not many people are that, they're gonna pay on the total.
Well, the problem is, Charlie, is if they move the starting, they're gonna move everybody else that same increment regardless.
Okay.
So that way you don't have somebody that's been here a while making less than somebody that just got hired. They're gonna shift everybody's up by the same bracket.
Catherine, I just sent you a reminder message to show up on your phone on the 17th at 10 a.m.
You see
I
my
can
phone?
schedule a message on my phone.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Scheduled a message.
So if that's the case,
Send an alarm to her
then
phone.
everybody else was increased 10%. If you gave them the same basic
But
amount,
not that doesn't work, it shouldn't work that way.
That's why I said, who gets 10%? Nobody gets 10%.
won't, yeah.
It should be that dollar amount.
Okay.
That-
But you emailed us the, what they're actually getting paid now, our employees, and what they'd be getting if this passes, if your proposed wages pass, right?
I think what you, what.
I think Charlie, Scott asked for that.
Yeah, so
He asked for that
we have
specifically.
3 of them,
We
yeah,
have
it shows what they get now, what the commissioners approved, and what the chief wanted, so we have all 3 of those. you can see
Okay,
all
so
the
that was
numbers.
emailed to us?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
email.
Then I think it went to Scott. Scott's name was on it, so that's how it'll show up on the email.
Sometimes, yeah, that gets filtered as junk depending on,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I
if you
have it
email
filed.
them, sometimes it goes in.
Oh, so I might not find it?
If you don't have it, send us an email.
I'll-
You may not have,
We'll
you may
resend
not
it.
have
I don't often go
recognized
back,
the
if
name.
I miss an email, I often go back, I have a motto, always go forward.
People email
But,
me their.
well, actually, there is something that
signature
helps us, I think, we can
I
get
never get it.
information.
3 months later,
But-
file something. Did you send it? I sent it.
Have you seen it?
Well, just because, I guess I don't know where everybody falls on this step scale, you know, like.
It's funny
Okay.
where how long they've been here and stuff like that.
Yes,
Yes, but if you were, let's say we did hire experienced firefighter, right? I assume they start at like step 3 or step 4.
That depends upon, if they're less than a year experience, it's not in step
Okay. But if you, let's just hypothetically, let's say that you start them at step 3, so instead of step 1, they start at step 3, then the next year, they go up to
Yes.
step 4, right?
one. If the commission has approved the step increase.
Okay.
So
It's
this
not,
is-
it's not automatic. The
Okay.
commissioners have to approve it, and then the budget committee has to approve it in the budget process as well.
Well, we've had people who left and then came back.
Yes.
Where did they start?
To get them back, I started them from where they left.
Okay.
So this is not what I'm looking for.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for specifically, I'm gonna say
Okay, so-
deputy chief and firefighter, paramedic, and, you know, blah, 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 blah.
Well,
They
No,
get,
they
so
don't.
these steps, I don't know where to put people in these steps.
so if you look at.
I wanna specifically,
The
I mean, I
deputy
know,
chief and, the deputy chief and myself, we're salary, we're not in that wage scale. We just get a number and that's it.
Whatever percent.
Right, but I-
So
so-
that's what they get.
looking at this, I'm not gonna be able to determine what
So you're talking about
Catherine
actual,
Dawson, if I was a firefighter, is currently making.
actual people in our employ right
Yeah.
now. So you have 4 shifts, right? A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shift, what is
We
it?
can-
Is it captain?
We can say how many captains are at this step and how many, you know,
Firefighters
firefighters
at
at
this-
this step and
okay.
stuff like that.
yep. And I don't care if you wanna call them A, B, C, D,
Yeah,
and
leave
E, F,
the
and
names
G.
out. I mean, the school district publishes everybody's salary, does it public?
Oh, it's public information.
But
Yeah.
I don't, it doesn't matter to me, I don't.
It is absolutely
I don't
public
I just rather, I just
information
wanna see
by
numbers.
name.
Real
Except,
numbers.
except, the only thing you don't put in is insurance.
So I know this was already asked, but, so this, the 1793 starting, proposed 1960 or 19, so it's $1.67. If that was to go through, does that put everybody up $1.67 or by the percentage that's reflected by that $1.67?
What happens is that it's step 1 increases by that amount,
Yep.
and then all the other steps fall into place. From step 1 to step 2, it's a 5% increase over step 1, and then from step 2 on, it's a 2.5% increase.
Yep, so you take
So
that
it's not
$1.67 and
Yeah, it just
adjust it up,
automatically.
is it? Okay.
Yeah,
So it's not for 10% across the board?
no,
No, it's,
it is,
but it ends up coming in as a dollar amount.
Where does the 2.5% begin on the steps?
step 3.
All right, so if you could send me out my elementary information,
Okay.
that would be great. Thank you. All right, anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Oh, it's non-debatable, forget about the discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll stay.
Good night, everybody, thank you. Good work.
Opposed, say aye.
No.
It's the way it's our book. It's the way I was. You had that happen? Yes, I have.
I think they may
Is
have
that
put motions
listed
in,
under all
they may
those?
put it on timers, the lights are still open.
It says more, and John's got
Good, this time.
I missed it.